The next one now is doing the actual balance sheet. So just to kind of reacquaint ourselves, here we have the header section. This is always, always, always centered, and it's always in the same order: the name of the business, the name of the document, and the date. Next thing we're going to have is all of our assets listed on the left side. Top right is going to be liabilities, and bottom right is going to be owner's equity. So let's get started then. So the name of this business then is Subrata Lawyers. It is not the name of the owner, right? The actual working business name is Subrata Lawyers. It's owned by Grace Subrata, but her name specifically doesn't appear in the owner name of the business unless that actually is the name of the business. So Subrata Lawyers, this is the balance sheet, so we're going to list that next. And then we're going to say the date in full. Now, sometimes when you type in the data, especially if you're using Excel, it'll change the format. So sometimes you have to put in a space before the capital D, otherwise it kind of auto changes the format on you. Okay, so going back up here to the top now. So remembering there's two orders of things, and I think we're in pretty good shape here. So our assets, first of all, here have to be listed in order of liquidity. So the most liquid thing, which is cash, listed at the top. The next easiest things to convert to cash, which is almost always accounts receivable, goes next, and then so on. And then within our accounts receivable, they're listed in alphabetical order by last name, right? And so let's focus on that. So we're going to go down here. We're going to have our assets. And because I did this kind of, I'm using a template, it's kind of pre-formatted to go centered, and it's bolded, okay? And so from there then, and there's no real magic about the order. You can list each account and the value, or list all the accounts and then the values. It doesn't matter, just as long as you don't make any mistakes. So we're going to do cash. Now we have two accounts receivable. In the previous lesson, we talked about having kind of a subheading. And this is good if you have like, and then we would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dash, and then J Jones. So that's one way to do it. Since there's only two, the other acceptable way of doing it, which is probably easier, is this other method. Having the subheading like this, you would use that if you had lots and lots of accounts receivable. So what we're going to do is a slightly different way. Is we're going to, and this is left justified now, we're going to do accounts receivable short form, space, dash, space, A dot, Jones. And then similar, we're going to keep going. And the formatting and the spacing is very, very specific. And yes, I do count that the spaces that you put in when I mark it. I look for that specifically. So again, you want to make sure that you have A/R left justified, a space here, a dash, a space here, A dot space, and then the last name. Okay. So, and then going on from there, we've got our office supplies. We have our office equipment, and we have our building. And so now we're going to go over here. We're going to list the value of all these things. And we'll talk, don't worry about the formatting, we'll talk about that in a minute. And 30,000 for our building. So these are all dollar values. So above here, when we were just doing our rough work, we showed those as not having cents. On any financial document, we will always show the cents, regardless of whether there actually are any. Numbers should always be right justified and have commas. So what we're going to do then is we're going to kind of select this whole box, and we're going to go to our formatting menu. And we're going to make sure that they're right justified. We're going to make sure that they have a comma. And in this case, it's actually put in that we have our 2 decimal places, okay? Now, a nifty little trick that you can do is you can now hit the format painter, and it will copy all those attributes, and you can put them over here just like they are there. There we go. Oh, actually, that kind of messed up things a little bit, my formatting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the whole column there, format painter, and just click that right in there. Good. Okay, so now when I put my numbers in here, that will be formatted properly. Now, I am not at this time going to put in the total of these things because I haven't done this section yet, so I don't know where the total is going to go. Remember, they have to go on the same line. Even if there's 2, 3, 4, 100 lines blank space, they have to go on the same line. So I'm going to leave this for now and come back to it when I'm done this section. So again, going to a new subheading for liabilities now. I'm going to list that at the top. My first two things are my accounts payable rather. These have to be formatted consistently with how I did it on the asset side. So if I listed them this way, here I have to do the same thing here. If I use the subtitle and then just the names underneath, I have to do the same thing here. So since I did the A/PR method on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So dash space and then B dot canon. I have A/P space dash space M Williams. Again, noticing that these are in alphabetical order. I then have a bank loan, and that is the end of my liability. So now I'm going to put in a subtotal heading here of total liabilities, and I'm going to put in my values. So we'll notice that they are coming in the right format, and 33,500. There we go. Okay. So now the total for this, I'm going to equal sum, open my bracket, shift up, hit my arrows or my upwards arrow twice to get to the top line, close my bracket, and that is my total of my liabilities. Then the next thing I'm going to do, and this is a little bit tricky, the underline for showing the total actually goes above the total, not below the final number. And you'll see what I mean by that over here in a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put my cursor on that box, and I'm going to go to my borders, and I want a top double border, which we might have to go to formatting for that. More borders. There we go. We want a double, and we want it at the top. So I'll click on that. There we go. And so now I can see it's actually it's not very good, but it's there. It's a double kind of line. So now I'm going to skip a line, and I'm going to go to owner's equity and the owner's equity section. So under here, and again, this is very, very specific, I'm going to list the initial and last name of the owner plus the word capital separated by a comma. So G. Subrata, comma, capital, and spelling it correctly. And then I'm going to put in the correct amount that we calculated above, which is 29,500. And now we're done. So now I can put in the total. So here I want to add up two numbers, not all four. So I'm going to do equals. I'm going to arrow up to the first number, hit my plus key, and then arrow up to the second number and hit that. Okay. So this now is the line where I want my total. So I can now go back over here and I can press equals sum, arrow up to my 30, hit my shift and hold it down, close the bracket, and hit enter. So now for some odd reason, we are out $500, which is not good. So I just want to double check here. 5,000 to go. So the office equipment is not listed correctly here. So I missed the 500. See how that can go quickly? So again, because I've automatically put in the calculations for all these, when I change this, it will automatically update to the correct balance. So I've done my total liabilities and owner's equity. So now over here, I need my total assets. All right, so we're almost done. The only things that we need to do are some single underlines to show calculations. So again, I'm going to go to my borders. I'm going to do above it, I'm going to do a double underline. maybe we need to make the, yeah. So at the top, click on that. Same thing over here. And then to show that we're done, we're going to go to our 65,000 on each side. And under here where it says underline, there's actually a drop down and you can do a double underline. And so we're going to do that on both sides to show that we're finished. Okay, so that is all of there is to creating a balance sheet. So in terms of going forward, this is kind of the main part that you're going to have to worry about. This was kind of a warm up that you'll kind of get either quick at and be able to do in your head, or it'll be kind of provided for you. In most cases, it'll be already in order. This was kind of anyway. So that's the end of that lesson, and so now make sure that you complete this as it's been presented here and submit it to the appropriate Dropbox.